Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life TV Now, where we unpack all matters of truth, faith, and freedom. I'm Joe Artis Horn. Today is a continuum of an incredible conversation that we started last week about living off-grid and the pursuit, of course, of self-sustainability. Let me introduce who's here. My best friend and beautiful wife, Catherine Horn. And she's lived the homesteading lifestyle for over 4 decades, long before it became a movement, building a life of self-reliance through raising livestock, growing food, and practical skills. She's also dedicated herself to education and mentorship, equipping the next generation with skills that truly matter. Today, she's the founder of the Ozarks Homesteading Expo and Ladies Homesteading Camp. Please welcome Cheryl Franklin. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed last week's program, go right now to wherever it is that you archive and rewatch programs of Life TV Now, whether that's Rumble or YouTube. But we're joined again today by Cheryl Franklin, and we were talking about this last week, this whole proposition, the idea of, getting back to what really ought to be our roots in terms of self-sustainability, growing our own food, living off-grid should the grid go down, and not being reliant on the very rapidly depleting during an emergency grocery store. That whole construct is we saw this in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, if toilet paper in 2020 is going to be out nationwide, imagine if we experience an EMP or an emergency disaster that no one sees coming.
Yep.
And with the way that the world is positioned right now, that could happen literally at any moment as we're taking for granted each day that we have the grocery stores. Imagine if toilet paper is out nationwide, what food is going to do.
Wow. Exactly.
I'm telling you, people are going to be holding people up at gunpoint and stealing bags of cereal. This is not me doom speaking. This is me telling you we are dealing with a Western civilization in particular that has no comprehension of how to take care of oneself. Okay. If our Babylonian construct isn't there to make sure that we have all of our needs met. So this lady, Cheryl Franklin, is one that my family has learned under now for the last over a year. They've been to many of your conferences, many of your camping events. My oldest daughter, Kate Taylor, who's in the crowd today, learned under you last year and said, Dad, you got to get Cheryl. She's the real deal. She didn't just write a book, but then live in the city. She's living the life. She knows what it is to jar and can. And of course, show of hands, how many of you remember your grandmother or your grandfather? He's out back, he's got a water hose, he's watering his garden. There's no such thing as organic food labels because it's just food.
Right.
As grown per the way God would have had us grow food.
Exactly.
They weren't using herbicides and growth hormones and pesticides and artificial dyes. They're just growing food. And then what they're doing with it after the fact is they're putting it in things like jars. Because they knew that they might need food. We're talking about
in the winter,
the Dust Bowl, the winter. Our great-grandparents came out of the Dust Bowl, the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And so they kept absolutely everything, jars of old nails, like the most random stuff, buildings filled with stuff because you just didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't.
And now we've got, people, oh my word, to me it's a sin before the Lord when I walk past some of these restaurants and literally 80% of the plates have 20 to 30% of the food going in the trash. And it's like, I'm not kidding. I do a prayer and I say, Father, this is a crime. Wow. This is a crime.
Well,
we are so gluttonous. We are taking for granted. We are so wasteful. I believe we could be set for a great sobering. And I feel like there are people out there not ready, most people not ready at all. So let's just start at the beginning, Cheryl. Somebody watching this program, the idea of homesteading or growing their own food, it can feel like a big life change.
It can.
And it's, I think, one of the things that stifles people from even getting started. Do you agree?
I do, and partly because there's so much information out there. What do I do? How do I do it right?
Where do I start?
They want to do all the things.
Like at once.
And at once. And I understand the reasoning there, because if you get an idea that something could happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
You kind of want to learn how to do all the things at once. And that's kind of why you can go to some of our events and kind of learn a lot of things, but you can't always crash course on things. So learn how to do some things well.
Yeah.
And canning is the biggest thing.
So would
And
you say that's a priority?
it
if
is
you
a
had
priority.
To start somewhere?
Canning, start in one place and do it well. Learn how to make bread. I mean, bread is, a lot of people don't eat bread now for whatever reason, but if you're in a crisis situation, you're going to eat bread. And
Yeah.
so learn how to make bread and learn how to can the harvest that you have now. If you can't start a garden, start shopping your farmers markets or
Yeah.
talk to a neighbor. Do you know how much food some people throw away because they don't have
Yes.
time to can it?
Yep.
Yes.
And they
Learn to
don't
your
have the
neighbors.
resources
They can
to
put
go to the
zucchinis
farmer's
on your
market.
doorstep.
You're
Right?
talking about
Exactly.
people that are growing
Yeah.
food, but they just couldn't use all their
They
zucchini,
can't
and they're going to
use
toss it or
and
feed
they're
it to
gonna
the
toss
chickens.
it. Yeah, make community or make friends with people who have gardens. And there's so many now. There's farmers markets popping up everywhere. So you just go there to meet people and to
Yeah.
make community. And honestly, to your talk about if a crisis happens and the wheels fall off again, or something happens to an attack or even natural disaster even, which is
Yeah.
very real.
It is very real.
In many parts of the country. I'm not so sure where any of us are prepared for that.
Right.
Really. Because it's going to be way worse than what people could ever dream or imagine. But, for smaller crises, you can make sure you have more than what grocery stores or what most people have in the refrigerator, 3 days in the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have a stash of, a larder, what they used to call it, of food for yourself and your family. Should something happen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said something towards the very end of last week's program, and I'll just very quickly recap because this was so profound to me, because this doesn't care if you live in Manhattan. This doesn't care if you live in the rural or the suburbs or the country. It doesn't care where you live. But if you can't start this year growing your own food, if that's just too much, you can start buying nutritious food, like you said, from people that are bringing it to places like farmers markets or your local health food stores that
farms,
also
or you pick
aggregate.
places.
Yeah.
Yes.
You pick places. But then you take that food home and you learn how to preserve it.
Yeah.
Jar
later.
it. Yeah, so that you could maybe have some of those fruits and vegetables for a year out or longer if you do it right.
And people say it's expensive, but if you buy it in bulk, you're going to get things cheaper. You buy a bushel of something, you're going to get it cheaper than you are if you're going to buy 5 tomatoes.
Right. Well, and a lot of people too are scared about canning and things like that. But we went to your actual Homestead ladies camp, which was phenomenal. If any of you ladies out there have a chance to go, it's amazing. And she had people from literally all over the country that came to the homesteading ladies camp. It was amazing.
Let's put the website up on the screen right now
Yes.
if you want to go and learn hands-on. Let's put it up on the screen.
It was amazing, and it really was that next step kind of a thing where you go and they show you step by step, okay, this is why you don't have to be afraid of pressure canning. Here's what you do for a water bath, and the resources you guys provided was incredible. And Kate, I was able to go with Kate to that, and we learned so much, and we ended up actually canning some of her cucumbers from last year, and we made relish and some bread and butter pickles and stuff like that. So it kind of took the fear of like, okay, I don't know how to pressure can anything.
Canning meat.
Yeah, and we canned meat there too. So that was really fun. But just, taking that fear out of it, because so many people are scared of that. So that step of just doing it and following people, and even the videos that you guys shared from the speakers that came in to teach us how to do it, those were incredible too. So I would just suggest though too, for people, if you have the opportunity to do that, do it. But if you don't, there are so many people.
Get a mentor, yes.
Yes.
There's so many mentors in the community. We do a monthly ladies homesteading camp, and we have 30 to 60 people come every single month, and we do a different topic every month. So find, people in your community that are doing those kinds of things. And because you know what? You don't have to know how to do it all.
Right,
There's
right.
other people. You could be good in
Right.
one thing, and then somebody else can be good in another thing, and you get together and you
Yeah.
share that, because
Well, and
what
that's
it's
the
all about.
bartering system too, to a
Same
degree.
type
So
of a
I'm
thing.
good at making the bread, and then you're good at making cheese, and then we can swap the
Just
bread
swap
and the
it out.
cheese and all of that
And
kind
that's
of
a
stuff.
great thing for especially urban people as well. Finding somebody that also is like-minded, and you can
Yep.
share skills or share products, things like that. And the same thing, during 2020, the meat processing plants all went down because they needed to conform. If you had lambs or cattle or pigs, that you were trying to raise, you couldn't get them processed. You couldn't take them to the thing. So that's another thing where a lot of people set out to learn how to do that themselves.
Yeah, how to process.
And we've been doing that ourselves for years, but it's surprising how, and that's another thing we do at the expo is teach people how to do that. But it's easy and way less expensive to do it yourself as well. And again, it's not for everybody. That's why you get community together.
Yeah.
You just need to find your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get community together, because one person may not mind doing this assembly line,
Yeah.
this portion of the process, and somebody else might,
Yeah.
many hands make light work too. So
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is not a plug for a specific, online social media platform.
No.
But I will just say, if I may, Facebook. This is not an endorsement of Facebook or the people running it, but I will say that there's a lot of community, marketplaces and groups now on platforms like that.
There
You might be
are.
surprised, regardless of where you live, if you haven't thought of that. Go in and just type in, hey, I'm looking for I'm a part of a fish tank club, or I'm a part of a whatever club. You'll probably see that there are farmers markets and people
Yep.
growing food and having community events where they're teaching some of this stuff. I don't know if there's a de facto, Cheryl, in your view, a de facto starting place. Like your best advice for that guy that's on the fence who maybe feels drawn toward it, but he's just overwhelmed even now during this program, still thinking, yeah, but man, I don't have land. I just don't know. What is some really good advice that you would give that guy?
Well,
or
do
woman?
your homework. There, like what I said, when I started, there was a book. I had a book,
Right.
one book. And there are so many places where you can get mentorship. We love to promote community and, find a real life mentor, face-to-face person that you can do hands-on
Yeah.
thing. But, aside from that, there is no excuse to not be able to learn how to do those things, like making your own bread. Start with one thing, get good at it, and then go to the next thing. That way you're not overwhelmed.
Right.
You can't do all the things, and nobody can do all the things well.
Sure.
Exactly.
And so you just learn how to do, one thing, and again, find your tribe. They are everywhere. They used to not be.
Right.
But they are
Right.
everywhere
It's
now.
kind of
People are
exploding now.
everywhere, and I'm so encouraged that there's
Yeah.
people in every community that want to learn how to go to the farmer's market and say, who do I talk to that does this stuff, or who's
Yeah,
having
it's about
program.
networking.
Extension too. Actually, Extension, has been doing a lot of
And now
workshops
explain
and things
that,
like
though,
that.
what's Extension?
Like we're in Missouri, Missouri University of Missouri Extension. Every state has an extension office, which is part of the land grant universities. So you can find every county has an extension office where you can get a lot of information as well. And yeah, there's just no lack of, information out there anymore. And just see what you like, and start somewhere. Just don't get paralyzed by it. Start somewhere. Just take the one
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
Make
Baby
a
steps.
loaf of bread, and once you do the one thing, you'll have so much confidence that you'll
Yeah.
want to do more.
Yeah, that's
really.
kind of a
And
human
it
nature
is.
thing.
It is.
It is.
I often
You're
tell people,
afraid.
whatever it is, like start winning, feel like you're winning, do a baby step, and that becomes way more
Yeah.
infectious than guilt or the fear of something else.
Yeah.
And I often think that's kind of like our walk with the Lord.
Yeah.
If you're trying to escape flames, if it's coming from a place of fear of outcomes, and so okay, I gotta deal with this Jesus character in order to avoid this outcome that sounds pretty mortifying. I always feel like that is not a sustainable motivator.
Right.
Diets are not sustainable for most people long term because of the guilt of maybe gaining weight again. Like, you have to feel better about things. You have to fall so in love with Jesus that you don't want the world anymore. Those are
Right.
when you start feeling like you've got momentum. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Not that life's always going to feel good, but I agree with you. Take a baby step, be proud of it, go tell your friends, I did a jarring. I jarred a thing. Look what I did.
That's right.
Right?
It's canning, but
Yeah, or I'm smarter than Joe Horn, and I actually can a thing
well, and
because I homesteading.
to that too. We always talk about in our community about how we're just borrowing all this from God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you borrow something from somebody, you don't give it back. You don't ruin it and trash it and then give it back to them.
That's
You
right.
give it back to them, at least in the shape they gave it to you, but hopefully better shape
Yeah.
than they left it with you. And that, that's the same concept. It
Well, we
includes
were
our
always
bodies.
taught too that you never send something back empty.
Empty. Yes.
You always fill it
your
back
pie
up with
plate,
something else.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm
It doesn't
so
have to
proud.
be the same thing, but
I'm so proud of the ladies in our family too, because Catherine and Kate, my daughter, they have started. We have a pantry at home. There is meat in there. There's food in there. There's things that they have canned,
not jarred.
not jarred. But of course, they've allowed me to continue saying the word jar. But anyway, well, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue, I want to tell you about something that I personally use, and I absolutely love it, and I think that you're going to love it too. I'm talking about Eden's Essentials Organic Lion's Mane Elite. It's a powerful 2,000 milligram full spectrum mushroom formula designed to support focus, mental clarity, and overall cognitive wellness in a clean, simple daily capsule. People all across the country are adding lion's mane into their daily routines for very good reason. It's certified organic, it's vegan friendly, and completely free from fillers or artificial additives or toxins. And right now we have a special going on at Eden's Essentials where you can save 15% off your next purchase of our organic Lion's Mane Elite when you use the promo code LIONLTN at checkout. And here's the thing, I don't know how long this promo code is going to last. I don't know how long these prices are going to last, so don't delay. Try Eden's Organic Lion's Mane Elite today with promo code LIONLTN to save 15% off your next order. All right, let's get right back into things. Cheryl, do you think that most people out there maybe watching this program, or the people that you meet at these conferences and camping events, do you think that there are those that kind of start off super motivated and then they kind of start to realize this is kind of gravitas? Mm-hmm. They start to see a picture unfolding that the time constraints, the demand, the actual having to get up and deal with the full picture of living off grid and living that out as opposed to just daydreaming it. It's a real commitment. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, and kind of like we talked before about starting and mastering one thing at a time and not trying to do all the things. I'm on a lot of groups and things. We talked about community groups and, you see all these things like, oh my goodness, this died and that died and the garden died because I don't know what because I don't know what I'm doing, and they go there for support and that's great. But, that's part of the problem, trying to do other things. And it's a lot of work for no results. So people get overwhelmed by not doing their homework, just like anything.
Yeah.
They get, with garden, that's one thing. But then you've done all that work and you don't have the food and you don't have the,
I'm sure that's
bounty
terribly demoralizing to show
it's
for
horrible. Or pests, and things like that. So again, doing your homework with that, preparing your soil is the very first thing, and we're in the
people
Ozarks
don't think
here.
about that.
So everybody has their challenges wherever they're at. But here it's rocks and clay soils and things like that. So, preparing your soil right and learning that. And, we could do a whole program on soil or 10 programs on soil.
Yes.
But the animals is what, I hate to see when people just, I'm going to get goats and I'm going to get goats and I'm going to get cattle and I'm going to get a dairy cow. And, we have to, which you have to milk twice a day. And there are a lot of factors in that, the animals suffer if you don't know what you're doing.
I got you.
Especially dairy animals, I think.
Yes.
If people don't
I
know what they're
agree.
doing. And then they say, oh my goodness, we can't go on vacation because we have to milk our cow twice a day. And you can't always know somebody who knows how to milk.
Boy,
We had dairy
I
goats for
can't
40 years and, we didn't trust people to. My husband and I didn't go on vacation together forever because one of us had to be there
to stay
because we
home.
don't trust people. We did bring people in to help sometimes, and it wasn't always good. So starting small, and especially with the animals, knowing what they're doing. A lot of people have moved to our area since 2020, especially, or to rural areas. More people have moved to rural areas. I mean, that's huge.
It is.
Not just here, but all over the country.
Yeah.
And knowing how to maintain property or what they're getting into, property.
Yeah.
There's challenges and, with wildlife, and there's challenges with, some people come in and chop down all the trees, cut down all the trees, and I go, it's like, don't do that. And, and
Yes.
clear cut things. And there's just, people need to do their homework and not get impulsive about things, It's easy to go into the feed store and hear the little chicks peeping and go, I had no idea when I came in the store that I was going to go home with 27 baby chicks, but now I do, and I don't have anywhere to put them.
Right.
And, the kids are mauling them or whatever,
Yep.
But mostly do your homework. And, because and I applaud people who just get excited about it, and I want people to get excited about it, but I also want people to be
measured.
successful.
Smart.
Yeah,
To do it smart.
setting them up for disaster, just
Yes.
rushing
Yeah.
into things.
Yes.
Well, there's two things I want to ask you at the same time. Not everybody watching this program, we've talked a lot about, if you're out there and you live in an apartment and you've never done anything with this, or you have no resources, no land, we've tried to, keep that point of entry very low. Do your research, maybe buy some foods, learn to can. See, I learned a word. But we do have followers and viewers that have money. They absolutely could buy land. And by the way, over the last decade, I've seen at least 6 of now my very good friends move specifically to the Ozarks, very near to where I live, and they came with no expectations of even meeting me, but they said, God just put us in the Midwest.
Oh.
Have you heard this?
Oh, yeah.
It's like over and over again, our good friends, the Umbriacos, like we've heard this over and over again. We were living in the city, we were doing fine. There's no reason whatsoever to move to humid, tick-infested Missouri, but we felt like God wanted us to move there. So if you're watching this program, and it doesn't have to be Missouri or the Midwest, do you have a recommendation or a caution about the kinds of land that somebody might be considering if they're out there right now praying through maybe moving states or
some
buying
people
land?
find that they want to live out, buy some property that they haven't done the research on the area, and they don't realize it's 27 miles to the store to get whatever, your
that's
milk
right.
or whatever, or every time you need something. And for some people, that's just, or 30 or 50 miles or whatever, and so some people, that's just too much. They're just like, or that they need to make a living, and now they have to drive an hour and a half to get to work
Exactly.
in the hills, in the winter, in the ice, or in the area that floods. We have 3 ways out of our property, and we can't get out if it floods. So, you have to decide, you're going to stay out or you're going to get stuck in.
Right.
So, there's a lot of factors to take into consideration if you're going to move there. And some people, and I've seen a lot of people try it for a little bit since 2020 and said, this isn't for me. It's just too far from
much.
town.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't do it.
Are there things, like you said, people chopping the trees down? Are there things agriculturally, where the water table?
Flooding and just, areas. It's Ozarks with plural, ozarkshomesteading.com. There you can learn about the Ozarks Homesteading Expo that's coming up Labor Day weekend in Marshfield, Missouri, where we'll have thousands of people just like you, all your 1,000 of your best friends, my best friends will be there, and wonderful speakers. There's 40 different sessions, everything from, bread and solar and sourdough and off-grid and cheese making and livestock and everything you probably ever need to know that you need to connect with. Not that you're going to be an expert, but you're going to get to meet
It's a
the
good
right people.
starting point in learning
And you're
how
going to
do
get
it.
so inspired and motivated
Yeah.
after going to that.
My oldest daughter, she worked very hard a couple of years ago on her very first garden. And it looked robust. It was going to be beautiful. And then a bunch of it, now you can correct me if I'm wrong. She's live here. I'm going to feel her eyes if I get this wrong. Not really. She's the sweetest person ever. But a bunch of it died, or it came in really small, and it was just kind of weird. And she had some decent tomatoes, but then the corn had issues, and there was some kind of a beetle that was eating things. And they're not using pesticides and chemistry. They're using diatomaceous earth and trying to do this naturally. And anyway, but the point is, I felt bad for her. I said, baby, you worked so hard. You worked so hard. And I was hoping there'd be this big giant spread at the end. And there was like a little offering. Here's a little tithing. And she wasn't crushed about this at all. She said, no, I figured I might blow some things this year. But last year, after a year, just one season of learning what didn't work. Last year, it was like a veteran gardener. Just in 1 year, again, some of this food still exists in our cans.
No, in our jar.
Oh, now I can say jars.
Because
Come
you
on,
can it in a jar. I
concede. And God gave men women
for this
because
reason.
they're smarter than we are. Live TV Now is bigger than just a show. Every single episode of Live TV Now represents hours of research, filming, editing, production, prayer, and conversations that many platforms and networks are simply unwilling to have. Our mission is simple: to bring truth, faith, and freedom and real conversations about health and the world around us to as many people as humanly possible, and we couldn't do it without you. Every view, comment, share, follow, and contribution helps us continue bringing on guests, creating new episodes, expanding our reach, and keeping these conversations alive. If Life TV Now has encouraged you, challenged you, educated you, or helped you in any way, here are a few simple ways that you can support this mission. Subscribe and follow. Share our content. Engage with posts and videos. Pray for the mission. Contribute financially at lifetvnow.org if you feel led. Together we can continue reaching people with messages that really matter. Thank you for being a part of the Life TV Now family. With only 30 seconds left, Cheryl, is there anything final that you want to offer the viewers at home before we call it a day?
So if you do buy your property right now, plant a tree, plant your fruit trees.
Okay.
Because the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Amen. Cheryl, we will have to have you back in future installations of Life TV Now. It's been such a pleasure to have you. And I'm sorry if you didn't feel like you got to get it all off your chest. We're limited to these very short windows of time.
We have to have like a mini-series
No, I know.
to do that, right?
Unfortunately, we're all out of time for today, but Cheryl will be back. For everybody here in studio, Cheryl, my beautiful wife, Catherine, thank you for being here once again, right here on Life TV Now. Keep your eyes on the prize, which is Jesus Christ. We'll be back.